Amnesia the Dark Descent is the most popular game made by developers Frictional Games, and for good reason too. With the Dark Descent, Frictional Games really hit their stride. The previous Penumbra games were scary, to be sure, but the inventory was a bit complicated and clunky, and interacting with objects felt sluggish. The puzzles could very easily be seen as difficult to the casual gamer, and the writing was, it was a bit freshman in college trying to impress his or her English professor. So with the Dark Descent, everything came together. You could interact with a lot of objects with ease. It was nice. The game was streamlined in comparison with their previous games, but not overly so that you weren't able to explore freely. The puzzles were difficult enough that you felt challenged, but not so easy that it didn't feel like the game was holding your hand. The story had some flowery parts, but it was easy to follow and compelling. You empathized with Daniel, even if at times you felt disgusted by his actions. And Alexander? Holy jeez, what a villain. But let's get to the topic at hand. Amnesia, a machine for pigs. Begins much like the first one. I guess it is a nod to it. You come out of unconsciousness with memory loss. Not full memory loss, just partial memory loss. Now, the first thing you're going to notice in this game is the bloom. I'm not talking about the motion blur when spooky flashbacks are happening. I am talking about Fortunately, you can turn it off, so your screen doesn't look like it's getting wicked screen glare. It is seriously bad. It grays everything out. You can barely see anything. Unfortunately, turning it off only makes something scarier visible. The graphics. They are terrible. Such low-res textures. Such disappointment. Why? Were they lazy? They did reuse a lot of objects and textures from the previous game. With the sales of the last game, you would have thought they could put more effort into the graphics of this game. But no, they didn't. So, in relation to that, I've been thinking about the Penumbra games, and yes, we're going to talk about them again for a second. Those graphics, they were rough. But they were also put together in a way that you didn't even immediately notice that. Those games were aesthetically pleasing up the wazoo. The use of color and tone really sets the atmosphere for the game, and it really leaves an impression on the player. I mean, look at that. That's pretty. This game, though? This game. It is so muddy. It looks like it's been smeared over with Vaseline. The only part that I could think that looks half decent is when the pigs are loose in the town and you're running about. But you don't even get to hang out in that section very long because you're running about. So another thing you notice right away is that there's no inventory. At first, this could leave the player with confusion. How will I carry my tinder boxes and oil and things I need for puzzles and... Wait, that kind of stuff isn't in the game? Wait, no insanity either? Nope. No insanity. No having to decide between, oh gosh, I'm going nuts from hiding this from this freaking monster, but if I turn on my lantern, the monster's gonna find me and kill me. In fact, I would say that you could have your lantern turned on 90% of the time. Probably even more than that. I didn't crunch the numbers in the head. I kind of just pulled them out of my head. Let's just say you can have your lantern on a heck of a lot with no repercussions. Okay, so the oil in the Dark Descent did run out really fast. What the fuck do you want? I mean, this is a game with it has an invisible water monster for heck's sake. And there's like magic stuff. You were royally fucked in the Dark Descent if you ran out of oil and only had tinder boxes left. And woe to the person that wasn't big into exploration and didn't have a huge store of tinder boxes. In Machine for Pigs, you only have to turn off your lantern a split second before you run into the monster. And you know when the monster is about to go, hello, because all the lights in the place, including your lantern, do their best impression of a strobe light at a dance club when they're nearby. Oh gosh, the monsters. or as the game calls them, man-bear pigs. I mean man-pigs. I'm not joking. The game calls them man-pigs. They are easy as piss to avoid. Very easy. It is hard to be scared of something you can practically just walk past. It is also very hard to be scared of something so ridiculous looking as a man-pig. Now, before you see the monster outright, in all of its ridiculous glory, you get a few glimpses, and I won't lie, I got scared. The problem is, once you see the monster fully, you can't help but laugh. At least I couldn't. It seemed so different from the earlier glimpses. I thought it was going to be some skinny, creepy thing, something really sneaky like, since it had acted really sneaky like one of those aliens from Signs, where it blended in with the environment and then suddenly moved and you could see it. But up close and personal, man-pigs are dumb, bumbling messes. As I said before, they are incredibly easy to avoid, especially when they're lit up in a damn Tron outfit. I am not making that up. It is also hard to be scared of them when you end up feeling incredibly sorry for the creatures. Throughout the game, you get to read about how they're created. In the previous game, you also get to learn how the monsters are created, but you remain afraid of them. You know why? Because they acted like monsters with none of their humanity left. But wait, you might be saying, the man-pig showing humanity could make them even scarier and creepier. Sure, if done right. It wasn't done right. At one point in the game, you are given opportunity to observe the man-pigs, and it does nothing but make you feel pity for the dumb beasts. Sure, you can see one of them masturbating, but you can also see them playing with blocks. Is that something you're going to be afraid of? Plus, they threw in the water monster in the game for some reason. It was only there for like a hot second. They didn't say why it was there. There was no explanation. It was just like, hey, the water monster was popular in the first Amnesia game. Let's throw it in there again. So what else? The game is very linear. There are these locks that kind of look like fancy child locks on so many doors, so many cabinets. In fact, I don't think there's a full wardrobe you can even open in this game. And they cover dressers, and as you can imagine, this really limits your interactivity with objects in the game. I mean, to begin with, you can barely grab anything. And this even makes it worse, because once covering the doors, you can't go anywhere. Let's talk puzzles. What I call them puzzles is kind of an insult to puzzles. They're all so simple. You just pick things up from the room or small area you're in, and that's it. I mean, the game locks you in the area or room until you solve the puzzle. I mean, come on. You don't have to go halfway across the castle to get ingredients for some concoction you need to solve this puzzle, or to find notes to get hints about how to figure it out. You just stay in one area. For example, one of the puzzles is you're in a small room and there's two cogs you have to pick up, which are practically next to each other, and you put them in the machine, and then the door unlocks and you're allowed to go out. The door had locked once you went in, and then you put it in the machine and then it unlocks and you can leave again. That's it. One of the most stressful aspects of Dark Descent was solving the puzzles either after a spooky moment or before a spooky moment. You knew something was going to happen, or even actually during one. The suspense, you don't feel that at all in Piggy Machine. So, story, fictional, as evidenced in the previous games, likes to be very poetic with the writing, and sometimes their plots can come off as convoluted. In Piggy Machine, the story managed to be extremely messy but simple at the same time. And it was very obvious. One of the most frustrating parts of the plot in the game is that there are these scripted moments where you lose consciousness, and that pushes the story along. And this happens more than once. It happens more than 2 times. And in fact, I would say it happens more than 3 times. I'm trying not to spoil the game too much in case you're planning to play it, but in less than a half hour, heck, less than 15 minutes in, you'll probably find yourself going, oh my gosh, we know. It's so obvious. It's so obvious what's happening. This is stupid. This is dumb. I am not, what? obvious. Okay, I'm not gonna say what I'm talking about. The dad killed the children. They were dead the whole time. What they fucking do? I have to give them credit, a very small amount of credit, with the use of artwork to show the mental state of the main character, even if it does come off more than a bit heavy-handed. But it's not as smack you in the face as the secret masturbation rooms, which weren't touched upon in the game. Touched upon. Voice acting. Bad. So bad. The children. Ugh. So annoying. Speaking of the children, their models. Bad. So bad. So dated looking. All their actions were mirrored. But wait, they're twins. They just took copies of things and they had them doing the same things. And it was so stiff, so unnatural. But they were dead. It looked bad. They must have spent all their effort animating old stumpies thumping around the place and then just went, fuck it, when it came to the kids. My favorite character in the whole game must have been the telephone. And it wasn't even a character, really. It was just a telephone, but he looked friendly. The music was okay. It was nothing especially spectacular. It was fine. Okay, game time. It took me about 5 hours to complete. And that included full exploration and note reading. First one, it took me about 7 hours, and that was with exploration and note reading. So the scare rating is a scary doll. The creepy dolls that people are so scared of, but they're not really scared of, but they feel like they should be scared of, so they say they're scared of them, even if they're not really scared of them, because they aren't really scary at all. What is he doing? What is he fucking? He's